Hello everyone and welcome along to the Supreme Racing League PS4 F1 World Championship, and we've come home to the British Grand Prix here at Silverstone. Well, we arrived back home after 9 rounds of thrilling action that have come before us, and we have been left with a thrilling championship battle as we arrive here for the British Grand Prix. Qualifying is just getting underway and all the cars are heading out onto the track to roar around one of the fastest circuits on a Formula 1 calendar. Very few braking zones, high speed throughout, but the championship is finally poised as we arrive here. And we've got Shimasi at the moment leading the way. 4th place last time in Austria, but he leads with 110 points, just 1 point ahead of his championship rival Matt Meerkat in 2nd, and then a 14-point gap to Ash Richardson in 3rd position. 4th position is Pip, Matt, and those 4 as a whole are covered by, those 4 are just covered by 14 points, and actually the top 3 covered by 3 points there. So that's Shimasi on 110 points, and then 2nd Matt Meerkat 109 and Ash Richardson on 108. What a fight we have brewing here in this championship. 4th position Pit Matt, he's far from out of it, just 14 points off. And even Skeven, the winner last time out, 2nd place last time out, didn't win last time out. After his penalties, he was 1st on the road, but penalties made him drop to 2nd. He is 42 points back in the standings, but believe you me, he has got plenty of chances to come right into this championship fight. We're not even halfway through it yet, and he is showing some real flashes of pace. If he can finish more Grand Prix, he can get right in amongst it. So he's in 4th place in the standings. His teammate Ricky, who is leaving us, I'm afraid to announce, after this week. I think he's left us this week, so no, we do not have Ricky today. So he is ruled out of the action, which is a real shame due to work commitments. Chris is 7th, OTG is 8th in the standings, Space Unicorn is 9th, Roberts is 10th with Daniel Roberts in 11th, Tom Stiggy Rowson is in 12th, Red Matt 13th, Bill Worrell Bob 14th, and Weiss, is in 15th place. So 13 runners here for Silverstone, all out onto the track early on their out laps, and let's begin to see what we can see from some of the cars. I've yet to see Cesar. Is he a newcomer? Possibly, I'm not really sure. Maybe Jamie can clear that up for me. He is here this afternoon. First I've seen of him, and also out on track. Who else we got on track? We've got Robbo out there as well, on an outlap at the moment. Outlap in his Sauber, heading through Maggots and Beckett's right now. One of the fastest corners on the Formula 1 calendar, fastest sequence of corners. It's so great to watch the cars down there. I really do recommend anyone that's watching at home and is yet to make the trip to a Grand Prix to head down to Maggots and Beckett's for a Saturday qualifying session here at Silverstone. It really does not get much better than that down there. Have we got anyone out there starting a flying lap at the moment? I think we have got Shimasi starting one, so let's pick him up now then, as he heads through the middle, well, the end of that first sector, then heading down the Wellington Straight towards one of 2 real serious overtaking opportunities on the racetrack, this being the first of them here at the end of the straight. Very shallow braking zone, you brake right at the 50-metre board, so you don't have a lot of time to make your move in a very small margin for error. And down the years we've seen Maldonado and Perez come together down there. It's very, very tricky. But Shimasi shooting out of Luffield then, several lines going to be taken by the drivers through that corner, and now down towards Copse, the old turn 1 as it once was, as Sticky pops in the first lap time of the afternoon at 1:29. Jamie some 10 seconds shy of it on a 1:39, probably an installation as we watch Shimasi look very, very committed through Maggots, Beckett's, and now Chapel. Look at the car, absolutely sticking like glue through that middle sector. He heads down now the second serious overtaking opportunity on the racetrack towards Stowe Corner at the end of the Hangar Straight. Shuts the car in, absolutely on the limit, using a little bit of AstroTurf, but keeping all 4 wheels within the racetrack, as Red Jams now goes quickest at the top of the timesheets. But Shimasi, will he go quicker than them all? Skeven, a 27.4, there's the marker. Shimasi only manages a 27.8, so Skeven in the Ferrari, the prancing horse galloping around this high-speed circuit and going quickest. First blood to the Irishman. He's shown he's had the pace all throughout the season, but can he deliver in the races? Can he be consistent in the races as the season heads into its second part next time out in Hungary? So 7 minutes gone, the first run's being completed. Skeevin goes fastest in on a 1:27.4. Shimasi second, a 1:27.8. Space Unicorn third on a 1:28 flat for the Pink Panther. Red Jams is fourth on a 28.2, and he's fighting the car quite considerably through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. Nothing like what we've seen from Shimasi and Skeevin. And the Haas car then heading down towards the end of the back straight, and I think he's backing out of his lap, and no wonder, because it was pretty messy. So he's now fifth as Jamie Day pops in a representative time, a 1:27.9, to go just a 10th shy of Shimasi. CG is 6th position on a 1:28.8. We've got Stiggy in 7th on a 29 flat, and Robbo is 8th and last of the runners to set a time on a 1:29.8. We're waiting on Cherry Pie, the Scotsman, to Cherry 2 Pie to do a lap. Cesar is on an out lap, OTG is in the pits, and Ash Richardson and Pit Matt have yet to post times. But Pit Matt is coming out the final corner now. Where will he slot in amongst the top order? He only goes 6th quickest. And now Pit Matt, it has to be said, despite being in a championship fight, and remember only 4 points off the title lead at the moment as Pit Matt, in Austria he was really off colour, lacked a lot of pace, and really didn't look anywhere near the victory. And in the end, laboured home really for just a few points. So Pit Matt only 7th quickest after his opening run, and again on the back foot, a 28.2, some, what's that, 8/10 shy of what Skeevin's managed. So Pit Matt is going to have to do something in that pits when he goes back into the pits. He's only doing one run, so he's got one more run at it, and he needs to come into the pits and maybe change some balance in the car, change the setup, because that is not what he needs to be doing. As Shimasi now begins to threaten the time of Skeevin. Look at that, 1/100th of a second separating them, and Shimasi really starting to home in now on Skeevin. He's getting his tyres up into the zone, he's finding the rhythm, and to be the only 1/100th away is a great effort. Shimasi really starting to show in this World Championship that he might be the man to beat. He's a man of consistency as well as qualifying pace, which as we know Skeevin lacking the consistency at times, but it's getting very close between the front two. I'm interested to see how they go on. All runners on super soft tyres that have set a time so far, and yeah, so far it's Skeevin edging Shimasi. Shimasi coming in then, most of the drivers in. We've got Ash Richardson coming to the end of his lap, he's abandoned it, so another one in the back foot. 5th place at the moment for him, 3rd in the championship, just 2 points off the top. 8/10 shy, just the same as Red Jams and Pit Matt. A real big cluster there between 5th, 6th and 7th, and nothing separating them, 200 separating the three of them. So that's going to be quite an interesting scrap. Can any of them get close enough to Jamie Day and Space Unicorn? They'll both need to, all three of them will need to find 3G. So let's ride on board with OTG then as he heads now on the super soft compound tyres through Cops Corner. Absolutely flat these days in the 2017 cars. No problem whatsoever for Ollie as he heads now down through Maggots, Beckett's, down the gears. A little squirt of throttle. Get on the throttle as soon as you can for the stand here this weekend. It's great to see here at Silverstone. You always get a good crowd, and once again the fans do not disappoint. So round the final few corners comes OTG. What can he do then? Through Vale and Club and up to the line. He only manages 10 quickest pardon me and 1.2 off the pace. Well, I think you can be heartened by that. If you can find just 4/10 of a second, you could go as high as 5th. So cars coming out on their out laps, and is OTG going for another run? No, he's not. He's 1.9, he's 2 seconds off in the first sector. So let's switch your attention to Shimasi. Skeevin is making a very late bid to lead the pits. He will be the last man to cross the line, I would think, with that late bid. But who's going to be the first man to see the checker flag here? I think the man we want to be watching here is Jamie. He's furthest round the racetrack. Jamie Day. Can he find the half second required to get up towards Skeevin and Shimasi? It's a tall order. It really, again, another corner that surprises you really compared to other racetracks. After the end of long straights like that, you really do expect to be braking at around 150, 100 metres, but not at Silverstone. The corners that follow at Brooklands and at Stowe are so high speed, and so you just gradually will drop the speed. You drop down a few gears and you come in at 50 metres and brake. It's absolutely incredible, and it's really tricky to get this track right. The drivers like to take so many different lines into the wide corners, and you really do see a variation, and that's why you sometimes get a bit of a field spread around this racetrack. But here comes Jamie Day then. Cesar, his nightmare session comes to a close in 13th place. Jamie Day then heading down the Wellington Straight towards Brooklands. 50 metres is the breaking point. He cannot get the car turned in early enough to get towards the curb, the apex. Pit complex on the right hand side as we look from the onboard camera. Flat out, as we know, through Cops, now into Maggots. Bring yourself over to the left, use all the curb available, avoid it on the right for the second part, then through you go, Beckett's and into Chapel and onto the throttle. That was pretty tidy from Jamie Day, watching through the middle sector, 27.8 through the middle sector. DRS wide open in the Williams, the car singing its heart out as he heads towards Stowe. Throwing it in, heading now down towards the final few corners, Club and Vale. What can he do? Jamie Day, 5/10 away, half a second shy. Can he get any nearer to the front row? Can he do it? He can get within 3. Decent effort. Now we turn to Shimasi. Space Unicorn has retired. What can Shimasi do then? He comes through Stowe corner and heads down towards the final couple. You can hear the fans roaring him on in the background. They love McLaren and they love the British drivers. What can Shimasi do? He plants the throttle out the final corner, heads for the line. Can he stretch the pole? He can! What a time! A 1:27.350. Skeeven is beaten. The Irishman upstaged here. It's Skeeven. Can he go any quicker? What will Skeeven do? I'm cut away from the camera. I cannot see the action here. I'm busy with Shimasi on board. What a time that is though. 27.3. He pulls it out the bag. Can Skeeven respond? I'm not sure where he is on the racetrack. He cannot respond. He's 700 shy of Shimasi, who delivers very, very late in the session and edges out Skeeven with a super time. What an effort. Shimasi goes fastest. Jamie Day went third. He ended up 4/10 shy. Good, decent effort though. Really good effort. Cherry 2 Pie with a late bid goes 4th quickest. We're delighted with that. He's on the second row, the Scotsman. Not too far from Scotland, of course, here down in England at Silverstone. Great effort. Pitmac went 5th in the end. He managed to improve and get into the top 5, so not all is lost. Ash Richardson's the last man across the line, and he's 3,000 shy of Pitman in 5th. So Pitman and Ash Richardson possibly going to lose ground in the title race to Shimasi here today. It's just a bold statement from the McLaren driver that he means business, and he has to start, you know, cranking up the gears and pulling away in this championship. What an effort that is. For those guys to be some half second shy, it's quite concerning, I would think. So Ash Richardson some way away. So there you go then. Shimasi quickest, ECR Skeeven, and ESR Skeeven I should say, 2nd, Jamie Day 3rd, Jerry 2 Pie 4th, Pitmac 5th, Ash Richardson right behind him in 6th. Space Unicorn will be gutted. He was in 3rd before the final lap started, ended up 7th as he failed with his final run. Red Jams is 8th, Frisky CG is 9th, Stiggy starts 10th, and OTG 11th. He'll get fresh tyres, as will Robbo and Cesar, who had a bit of a nightmare in that qualifying session. So, all eyes turn to tomorrow's race, and yeah, you never know what the weather can bring around Silverstone. You have to bring your brolly. I tell you what, I'll be bringing them for the podium interviews later on. You never know what weather might be on the way here at the British Grand Prix in Silverstone. But Shimasi, fantastic time for the McLaren driver, and Eric Billy looks delighted down there. And Shimasi, cool as a cucumber, delivering right at the end of the session when he needed it most to put that car on pole. And I have to say, I'm looking forward to the race tomorrow. I think he and Skeeven are bound to have a brilliant fight, and I can't wait to see the tyre strategies as well unfold. I would think super soft to medium would be the chosen strategy. Whether anyone tries to brave it out on softs and get them to the end, I don't know, or anyone tries the 2-stop. I wouldn't think the 2-stop would be on the cards, and the reason I say that is simple really. I mean, the pit delta is so huge around this racetrack that it's not really worth it. I don't think you can make the time up. We'll see though. The engineers will be crunching their numbers. They might be able to manage it. You just never know what they will be trying to do. And Shimasi quickest then. There's our quick rundown. Shimasi fastest 1:27.3, Skeeven 2nd 1:27.4. We got Jamie in 3rd 1:27.7, Cherry 2 Pie and Pitmat and Ash Richardson all on a 27.8. Then you've got Space Unicorn, Red Jams, CG and Stiggy rounding out the top 10. Oh, to draw back the curtains this morning in an intense Grand Prix. Can they keep it on the island and bring it home? Who will bring home the spoils today at the British Grand Prix? Well, here come the lights then. No safety car start today. And they are racing here at Silverstone. A lot slower than usual as they try and get off the grid. A lot of wheel spin. And look at Stephen sliding already in the into turn one. He nearly puts it in the wall. But I'll tell you what he does do. Loses a place. Several drivers running off the racetrack and running wide as they struggle to grapple with the conditions. One of the Toro Rossos is bouncing through the gravel trap down there. But Shimasi and Stephen are 1 and 2. Jamie Day third. Ash Richardson is fourth. And is there any collisions in the midfield? I think they've all got through okay. And we all we thought. We've got a spinning Haas car down there. That's Red Jam's going for a spin, lighting up the throttle far too early, and round he went. Who dropped into the back of his pit man, I think, that spun his Toro Rosso into the gravel trap. Absolute chaos at the start, but it is Shimasi holding his lead from somehow Stephen as Jamie T ran wide, I believe, into turn one, but Shimasi leads. And I think it was Pit Mat that went wide. We had Red Jams in the spin, and Cesar down the field. Red Jams and Cesar really struggling down the back end of the field. Pit Mat has got a lot of work to do to get his championship back on course. It somehow fell away in recent rounds, but out in front as they go through a wall of spray behind, Shimasi leads the way as they go through Maggots and Beckett's for the first time here at Silverstone. And it's all about just finding your way around the track, tippy-toeing, feeling your way around the racetrack, and Shimasi doing everything he needs to do at the moment. Skeven right behind him, and Jamie Day is some 2 seconds back already. Ash Richardson fourth, Cherry Tupai down 1 to 5th. CJ up to 6th and OTG up to 7th, would you believe? Robbo is 8th, Stiggy 9th, Space Unicorn rounding out the top 10 on this opening lap. But it's as you went at the front, Shimasi leading from Skeven, from Jamie Day and Ash Richardson in 4th. As they come round the final corner at the end of the opening lap of the British Grand Prix. So, oh, no changes in the top 3 places. Ash Richardson's up 2 from 4th position. Cherry Pie down 1 as we've just mentioned. CG up 3. OTG's the biggest mover up 4, as is Robbo up 4. Stiggy is up 1, and the rest of them all down, apart from Arctic Devils, who started at the back of the field. He's up 1 to 13th as we start the second lap of the Grand Prix. And we go on board with Skeven then, who's tucked right up behind the car ahead. And you'll be able to see absolutely nothing as he goes down the Wellington Straight, apart from a flashing red light coming from the rear of Shimasi's car. Intermediate tyres at the moment. You just do not know what the weather's going to do. The teams will be having a good eye on the weather. There's spotters all around the racetrack as well. That's how deep, how in depth these teams go. They get spotters. They go all around the racetrack, 5 miles from the racetrack in the direction that the rain's coming from, and give them information as to where and when and how much rain is going to come down. But at the moment, Shimasi leading from Skeven by just around half a second as Skeven just tries to keep him honest and lining up for any potential moves. It is very difficult to overtake at Silverstone. As I mentioned in qualifying, you might have long straights, but you do not have big braking zones to do it in. And in these conditions, with no DRS, it is even harder to get yourself alongside into a braking zone. So Skeven has just got to bide his time, work his way into that advantage that Shimasi has, and try and put some pressure on him, pressure him into a mistake. But at the moment, Shimasi is cool as a cucumber and leads the way from Skeven in second. Jamie Day, as we thought, dropping back considerably in third, and he's got a big queue forming behind him here. Ash Richardson is right there in fourth, with Cherry Tupai in fifth. The Scotsman, of course, he'll know all about rain. We see rain every day in Scotland, trust me. I'm from there myself, and it rains just about every single day. So Cherry Tupai will be looking to climb up towards the podium places, using that weather to his advantage, you would think. Meanwhile, out front, Shimasi just about holding on. The advantage Skeven's got, he might not have the advantage of the visibility Shimasi does, but he does have the advantage of knowing where to brake. The car in front brakes, and he uses that as a reference, because in these conditions it can change so quickly, it can change so rapidly, that if you hit the brakes at the one corner it'll be fine. You could come round the next lap and it's a washout and you end up skating off the road and into the gravel trap. But at the moment, no major changes to the weather, and Shimasi is able to hold off Skeven without having to get too defensive. So what about in third and fourth? It looks like Jamie Day is looking a little bit more threatening. His position's under more threat than Shimasi's is at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that. Cherry Tupai dropping back all of a sudden towards the clutches of frisky CJ in the battle for 5th and 6th. But on lap 3 out of 26, Jamie Day running in third with Ash Richardson in that Renault right behind him. He was hoping to take a championship lead here. Only 2 points, remember, cover Shimasi, Ash, and Matt Meerkat, who's not here tonight, unfortunately. As Jamie Day getting a little bit out of shape. And this might be the chance then for Ash Richardson as they go down the hanger straight as we lose Arctic Devils from the Grand Prix. Jamie Day was really wide, he got in the throttle very late, and here comes Ash Richardson. He punishes for the mistake at Chapel, and down at Stowe he makes it stick surely on the inside of Jamie Day. Apologies for that, folks. I think the mic fell out there. Thanks, Jamie, for letting me know the mic cable fell out. Yeah, you still get your odd glitches from now and then, don't you? You always do in television, so we'll just sweep that one aside. We should have took a telly break there and done what ITV did when Formula 1 was on. But no, we don't do telly breaks here at Supreme Racing League. We just give you the racing from start to finish. Maybe not the commentary, but there you go. So, Ash Richardson, and I don't know if you heard me or not, but you've seen it on the screens, he did move up into third position ahead of Jamie Day in fourth. And meanwhile out front, look at that, Skeven getting it down to 4/10. Is he lining up a move on this lap? Is he going to force Shimasi into looking in his mirrors as they go through the S's, through the Chapel? Shimasi getting a little bit squeezing on the throttle, as with Skeven, both of them lighting up the rears and having a big slide coming out of there, but Skeven gaining ever so slightly. He's got the gap down to 3.5 tenths now. Shimasi forced to look in his mirrors now, he's got no option. Whether he'll see very much from that rooster tail coming off his car, we'll soon find out. So many instances where drivers collide in the rain when they can't see in their mirrors and when they can't see in front of them. And Jenson Button, remember 2011 Canadian Grand Prix, couldn't see Lewis Hamilton behind him and squeezed him against the pit wall, and out went Lewis Hamilton. And of course you have your issues with the car that's behind, can't see the car in front. Even under safety car, don't forget Mark Webber and Sebastian Vettel. Don't remind Mark Webber about that one back in Fuji in 2007. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. Who has had a slide down the field? It's Cesar, who's having a bit of a mare, it's fair to say, down at Luffield. We'll just leave him to continue his nightmare, and he retires from the session. So we've lost Arctic Devils, we've lost Cesar. We're down to 12 runners here at Silverstone. And look at that, Skeven getting quite frustrated now behind Shimasi. They are both pulling away from Ash Richardson, despite him dispatching Jamie Day. He's unable to find a way past, to gain, I should say, on the two out front. I don't think the gap's going up as much as it was before, but it is certainly going up. As Shimasi there gets a little bit out of shape going through Cobb's corner. I think out of shape's the wrong word. He was more turning in a bit late, getting a bit of understeer as he went into it. Missed his apex, and now look at Skeven getting his way onto the rear once again of the back of that McLaren. Can he get the exit he needs this time? It's certainly better, but it's not enough to slingshot him right onto the tail of Shimasi. It is enough though, once again, to have the British driver looking in his mirrors. And Skeven, what he would do, how delighted would he be to oh, look at that! Wide goes Shimasi, and Skeven's coming now! He's going to try the outside, the Irishman! Can he put a dampener on the British spirit? It looks like he can. The wear has already put a dampener on it, and Skeven is going to put a dampener on the mood as well. Through he goes into the lead, but he slides massively out of the final corner, and Shimasi comes rolling back round the outside into turn one, and he makes it stick. Beautiful stuff. Pouncing back on the air from Skeven, and that's a sigh of relief for the British crowd and the McLaren mechanics. Back through goes Shimasi, and the ding-dong battle continues. Brilliant stuff. Can Skeven find the grip, find the patience, and find a way back through the will to win? That's what he needs. He's had one sniff, he's had a great chance and nearly made it stick. Can he do it again? That was superb to watch. Ash Richardson closing the gap as these guys battle to 6.6. Not quickly enough, I wouldn't have thought. But we are treated here for a great fight. And I tell you, I was sitting in the commentary box trying to keep one eye on the action and one eye on the crowd. They were on their feet as they came across the start-finish line. I'll tell you that much. and they really are enjoying it. The weather might be poor, but they are loving the action here at Silverstone on lap 6 out of 26. We're only on lap 6, remember folks, 20 more to go, and Shimasi somehow just about holding on to his advantage. I tell you what, Skeven looks so much quicker, so much more confident through Maggots, Beckett's and into Chapel. If he can get right on the tail of Shimasi and set it up from Copse Corner onwards, he will maybe get a run at the Hangar Straight. But it's just asking a little bit much at the moment, I think. I think he needs the weather to dry up to really have a proper go without Shimasi making a mistake, if I'm honest with you. But we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. We've already seen him have one proper goal with Shimasi running wide on the AstroTurf. I'm surprised he never spun on that AstroTurf, Shimasi. I was even more surprised that Skeven never spun coming out of the final corner and across the line the way he was sneaking the rear end of his car. But at the moment, Shimasi holding on and now responding to that error on the previous lap with a new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. But Skeven is not much slower and he's right behind him now. He's got under 3/10 for the first time in this Grand Prix. Is this his chance then? Can he get the exit he needs? He gets too much curb in the wet conditions, does Skeven there. Doesn't want to be doing that, and all that momentum he gained is lost. But then Shimasi, and all these drivers take different lines. It will vary even more in the wet conditions. And now squirting the throttle out of Luffield, the rear's lighting up. So much torque in these modern day Formula 1 cars. So easy to go for a spin. But Shimasi at the moment doing his... Or has Shimasi sorted himself out? It looks like he has actually. And he's going to be absolutely fine this time as long as he doesn't overshoot it on the brakes. What have we got going on further down? We've got OTG and Space Unicorn all separated by just 3/10. So let's keep a little eye on that then. In the battle for 8th and 9th, and look at that, Space Unicorn right behind OTG as they head down the Hangar Straight. Will OTG force him to the outside? No, he's not forcing him to the outside. Oh, that's a bit late, and now Space Unicorn takes to the grass and somehow avoids an aeroplane crash. Whew. OTG got that one wrong and came across him a little bit too late there. He should have made that move across about 50, 100 metres earlier up the road. As Skeven gets a vital 3-second time penalty added. So that's not at all ideal for him. And that makes things really difficult if he wants to beat Shimasi here today. But yes, Space Unicorn there. Lucky to still be in the Grand Prix as OTG really, to be honest, cut across him. That's what I've seen. But let's have a look at the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th. That looks like a great bit of fun down there. Cherry 2 Pie not enjoying the wet conditions as I suspected he would actually enjoy them, but not the case here. We've got a yellow in Sector 1. Why is that? We've got red jams going for a spin. His nightmare race continues down the back end of the pack, but back to the action in the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th. Look at CG, I'm ready to go on board with him at the moment. He's the back end sliding through Luffield on the way into the corner and then sliding on the way out. Clearly that Mercedes is not up to it. And CG has really struggled in recent weeks, it has to be said. He's not been on the pace that we're used to seeing him on. The podium pace, the race challenging pace. In the end, he's been scrapping down in the midfield, and it's very strange to see CG doing that in his Mercedes car, but usually at home in the Mercedes. But so far today, he's really not looked on it, and he wasn't on it really at all in Austria either. So, coming out of the Chapel Corner and heading down the Hangar Straight, has he got any chance of getting onto the tail of Cherry 2 Pie? Doesn't look like it as we go back to the broadcast camera. Cherry 2 Pie 5th, Frisky CG in 6th, Pitmat 7th. Look at them all racing hard, and CG trying the outside, Pitmat trying the inside, and that was very, very close to a little bit of contact there, and they were nearly all taking a trip down the pits there. That was very, very, very close, and I think these guys might be catching Jamie D as well in the not too distant future. Just want to keep an eye on. Cherry 2 Pie still running in 5th. Frisky CG 6th, Pitmat 7th, and look at that, there's a mistake there. Is this a chance to go up the inside? No, not quite for CJ, not quite. So, oh, look at that, Pitmat, is he coming past him? He is! Pitmat pounces in the air from CJ and goes through up into 6th, and that could be vital for his championship. He needs to recover after that early trip into the gravel, and he's doing a great job. CJ now frustrated, runs wide onto the grass and onto the runoff area. and that will be serious levels of frustration kicking in. He rejoins right with OTG, and they bang wheels, still rubbing wheels. OTG trying to go around the outside. Space Unicorn getting involved. They're still banging wheels as they head down through Brooklands and across the old start finish line. Space Unicorn tries to get involved. Can he go alongside now of OTG and find a way through? No, he can't, as they head through Cop's Corner, and this is getting very tasty indeed in the midfield. Good to watch as OTG now has a look at Frisky CJ, and I think it may have been OTG actually earlier on to start the race that when they're tripping the gravel. It might not have been Pit Matt, I might have got that mixed up, I'm not sure. But Space Unicorn, we've seen him try this before on OTG and got a huge chop. What will happen this time? He goes to the inside again. OTG cannot defend late this time. He's already alongside. Can he outbrake the Toro Rosso? No, he can't. OTG hangs it round the outside. Will he get back on the throttle? They bang wheels again. And Space Unicorn, can he go out round the outside and outbrake the Toro Rosso into the corner? He can, and he's through. Up he goes into 8th place and ahead of the Toro Rosso. And Franz Tost on that pit wall bangs his fist down on the table in disgust. He might have seen one man, Pit Matt, find a way past Frisky CJ, but he's seen his other driver drop down a place behind Space Unicorn. As Shimase, by the way, has opened out quite a lead, 2.3 seconds to Skeven. And Ash Richardson's dropped back considerably as well into the clutches of Jamie Day. I wonder what's happened there. But Cherry Tupai making a mistake, and this is Pit Matt going past him for 5th and 6th. It looked like he let him through there. I'm not sure why or how it came about, but through goes Pit Matt, and he's now up to 5th place, and this recovery drive is on here. He can see the podium in his sights. The race victory already looks out of the question, given the 13-second gap between 2nd and 3rd. But there's absolutely no reason why he cannot take this race to Pit Matt and Jamie Day. We'll have to wait and see how that unfolds. But lap 10 out of 26 here at Silverstone. We've had some good wheel-to-wheel action, and it is Shimase leading the way by 3 seconds to Skeven in 2nd. Then it's Ash Richardson some distance back in 3rd, with Jamie Day keeping him honest in 4th. Then a small 2-second gap back to Pit Matt in 5th, with Cherry Tupai in 6th. They've just swapped places. CJ is 7th after his little excursion at Brooklands, and Space Unicorn's right behind him in 8th, with OTG following them in 9th. Robbo sits 10th, currently picking up the final point. Red Jams is a bit of a nightmare this afternoon, giving his great effort last week, and I think he got driver of the day last week as well. It's been a stark contrast here at the British Grand Prix. It's not been a good afternoon for him at all. Stiggy hits some way back in 12th, and actually, as the track begins to dry, he's gone on to a set of the medium compound tyres, and I can tell you now that is not the tyre to be on. Now the rain has stopped, it has abated a little bit, but no way should he be on those tyres at this rate, and that's why he's 48 seconds off the pace and continuing to drop back. But Ash Richardson and Jamie Day, that looks like the tastiest battle on the racetrack at the moment in the fight for 3rd and 4th. And is there any way Jamie Day can find a way through? Pit Matt right behind them, he'll be wanting to get involved. Hopefully they'll be going wheel to wheel soon. Ash Richardson again take a very strange line there through left field, running very, very deep into the corner, and taking, of course, getting a great exit as you can see there, taking the karting line. When I said it was strange, it's just peculiar compared to what everyone else, peculiar to what everyone else has done. And he runs in 3rd with Jamie Day 4th and Pit Matt in 5th, all enjoying a little scrap between them. As Shimase now really opening that gap out to Skeven at the front. Doing a super job as the championship leader, a slim championship leader, but a championship leader nonetheless. And there's the answer he wanted about the medium tyres. He passes and laps Stiggy with ease, who's on those mediums. No problems there. And I'm beginning to wonder then what tyres these cars will go on to when the track dries out. I've seen Stiggy go into mediums, but maybe we're going to be moving into the window for a set of soft compound tyres. Fresh set of softs and go to the end. That maybe looks like a possibility. We'll soon see when this track is dry enough. Of course, it's never the warmest when it rains here in the UK, so there's every possibility that it will take a long time for this track to dry out, as the air temperature and track temperature is so low. And at the moment, Shimase is dealing with all those conditions quite well. He's running now 4 seconds ahead of Skeven. Wow, doing a great job in this second half of the stint. And Skeven just not liking the drying track at all. Clearly not looking after his tyres as well as the race leader. And at the moment, the British fans will be enjoying this. We've got OTG in the pits as well for a set of softs, and I think he's about to find out the same thing as Stiggy, that it's not the right idea. I wouldn't have thought. And he exits the pit lane now. We'll see him sliding off the road at some point. I think we're pretty sure of that. So now Pitman is on the tail of the leading of the end of the podium battle between Ash, Jamie, and it's now become a three-way scrap for that podium. So anyone watching in the comments, who do you fancy to win the race, Shimasi or ASR Skeven? And what do you think for the battle for third? It's really starting to spice up between Ash, Jamie and Pitman. And I actually think Pitman will do it here. I think he's really enjoying the drying track at the moment. We'll see how he runs in fully dry conditions. But maybe Jamie will improve in dry conditions, as he was quicker than these two in qualifying. We'll soon see. But at the moment, I'm going to go for the level-headed Pitman to pick up that podium. He might be fifth on the road at the moment, but I think we'll see some fireworks from the Toro Rosso driver in his bid to get back up with the championship contenders. Don't forget, Ash Richardson is a championship contender as well, so those two could get a good battle later on. But at the moment, Ash holding firm in third place, having overtaken Jamie Day earlier in the Grand Prix. Pitman was 10th at the end of the opening lap. He has really climbed back up, and a podium would be a good salvage job, I suppose, given his lack of pace yet again here this weekend. Continuing on from Austria, he didn't quite get the points he needed in Austria for a salvage job, but you can see the points within his sights here in that black and yellow Renault just up the road. And look at Jamie having a look now at Ash Richardson as they go through the loop and head on to the Wellington Straight. Pitman watching like a hawk in the background, waiting to pick up the pieces of any collisions as they go down the Wellington Straight. Is Jamie Day close enough to have a look? It looks actually like Pitman's the closer to have a look at Jamie Day as they hit the brakes for Brooklands, and still it remains Ash, Jamie and Pitman, third, fourth and fifth. So Red Jams, Robbo and OTG, how are they getting on those tyres? OTG coming around the final corner. I would say we're getting closer to that cut-off point as we reach halfway point in this Grand Prix. As OTG is keeping the car on the road, but not really looking very quick, as he now goes side by side with Robbo in the pit exit. And the battle for 10th and 11th, this could get quite circus-like, it has to be said, between these two, as they're sliding all over the place, looking for the grip. It's so tricky. And he's going to move to the inside as we lose Stiggy from the Grand Prix. And can OTG undercut him and find a way past? Stiggy has spun in the final corner on his medium compound dry tyre. So there you go. Does that answer your question about the track not being dry enough? It's right on the cusp, I'll tell you that much, as Robbo and OTG tippy-toe their way around and battle as they do it. Oh, that's good to watch. And look at that, Robbo sliding. It's like a rally event down there at Luffield. The two of them with huge kicks of oversteer as they head through Woodcote and across the old start finish line. The rain still showing up on the T-cam and a little bit kicking up off the tyres still. Surely those tyres cannot be up to temperature. And we've got Pitman and Cherry 2 Pie coming in as well for a change of tyres. So maybe it is time for a set of slick compounds. And look at that, OTG rubbing the rear of Robbo and damaging the left side of his front wing, and that might require another pit stop. Oh dearie dear, he's running last as it is, and Robbo links up the rears now. And is he off in the wall? He is off in the wall. He crashes against the fence, and he has also gone for a spin and damaged the left end plate at some point. So again, they're still struggling for grip out there, and will OTG come in? No, he'll continue with that damaged front wing. Cherry 2 Pie sliding in his way out the pits as well. Has Pitman made a wrong call or a right call? I would go as far as say wrong call at the moment. Surely it's not time for those tyres. We'll watch the delta between him and CJ. It's 22.3 at the moment. Will that come down? It's going up, 22.6. And is this his chance at a podium draining away right now? And now Robbo is out of the race. Has he crashed? No, he's come into the pits and retired the car. It's been a forgettable afternoon. He might have damaged his suspension when he rubbed up against the barrier. And that bold call by Pitman might not have worked here. He's 23.2. He's lost about 6 tenths, and it's getting bigger. 23.7 now. He's come in a lap or two too early. But Shimasi, Skeven and Ash are coming in. Shimasi has gone for medium, Skeven going for soft, so we could still see a showdown here between these two. Very conservative call from Shimasi. He knows best though. Ash is in. Jamie's in. Space Unicorn's in. So is CJ. Where's Pitmat in relation? I cannot see him jumping up here. I really can't. And look at him struggling round. Tippy-toeing his way through the final part of the lap. Surely there's no way that this is the tyre they should be on. As Shimasi heads back out onto the track, a little bit of a slide there as I go back on board with him. 4.7 is lead. Skeevan second as all the drivers come in. We've got Jamie D still out there on the inters now, up to 4th place. Has he pitted and fitted a new set of those? Is that what he's done? What happened to Jamie? He has. Oh goodness, he's come in and accidentally fitted a new set of inters. And he's, well, maybe not an accident because he's just gone past Ash Richardson with ease, up into 3rd place again. But surely he won't be getting much advantage out of those inters for long. No way. He will probably close for a lap or so on Shimasi and Skeevan, but I don't see him doing much more. There'll be one to watch anyway. He basically needs to find 16 seconds on them and then find another 20 or so, which he's not going to do, I wouldn't have thought, as the track continues to dry out. Unless Williams are expecting more rain, that's entirely possible. But I can't see it as Jamie Dewey continues to close the gap. It looks like the Inter is without doubt the tyre to be on at the moment. Why he pitted, I don't know. He could have just stayed out in his Inters. But he's already built 4.2 seconds on Ash Richardson. Maybe the Inters were dying out. And maybe if he can just get a few more laps at this pace, he will start building a gap on Ash. But look at that, it's coming down already. 3.9 as Jimmy slides. Oh goodness me. Whew. Heart break stuff there, heart in the mouth there for Williams and Jamie Day as he comes round the final corner and heads across the start finish line. Through the first corner, Jamie Day in 3rd of course, and I think he's just levelling out now at around 16.9 seconds to the guys around him. And I think he'll be in the pits soon for another change of tyres, and he's going to drop right down the order potentially to 7th or 8th place here. And he's going to have to recover as quickly as he can. I think he might just stay out on these tyres till he can take super softs to the end. You know that? He might just do that if he doesn't lose any time or too much time. He's trying to build a gap to Ash. I think he still is in some parts of the lap where the traction zones are, but 5.8 the gap to now to Ash, but that's going to start coming down soon. So maybe Jamie can stretch his second set of Inters out until he can put on super sauce, we'll soon see, and then come scything back through the field. Not the ideal scenario, but we'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile out front, it is still Shimasi leading the way, but he is on medium tyres and he's got Skeevan hunting him down. The gap down to 3.3 seconds, and he is on the soft compound tyres, the quicker of the two compounds. As they head down the back straight towards the braking zone for Stowe Corner. Can Skeevan close in the remaining 10 laps and put an end to Shimasi's party at the front, and put an end to any plans of a celebration tonight here at Silverstone in the campsites all around the Grand Prix circuit for the fans, and deliver for Ireland and put a dampener on the British weekend. The gap doesn't look like it's coming down though. 4 seconds in Shimasi at the moment. Doesn't look as ragged, he doesn't look as reckless as Skeevan, controlling the race. And as we said in qualifying, Shimasi has the qualifying pace and he has a race pace to go with it, and that is why he's leading this World Championship, albeit by a small margin. And I have to say, if you had to ask me who I'd tip for this championship, it would be Shimasi. He looks to me like the finished article, to be honest, and I think he is the one that will go on and lift this championship at the end of the year. Is he just stepping up a gear now in the second half of the season when it begins here? Well, it begins next week in Hungary, but it looks to me as if he's already in the zone and all set to seriously pull away with this championship. Skeevan 4 seconds back now, and an Irishman who's had so many non-finishes this season, so many non-point scores, really needs to start coming back in the championship. And despite a solid result here again, a second successive second place, he's going to lose points in the championship race to Shimasi, and that is all that matters at the moment for Skeevan. Can he steady the gap? It's 3.7 between them now. Jamie Day Still holding it at around 5.3 to Ash Richardson. Will he come in for a set of those super softs soon to come back at the field later on? Let's have a look. He's what? Let's see. How far is he? Well, I think if he pitted now, he's going to probably come out around 8th or 9th position. Probably 9th position, actually. So I think he really does need a set of super softs to come back at these guys. He really does. So it will be one to watch for Jamie Day. Is he coming in this time round? He is indeed. So what tyres will Jamie Day put on his car as he comes into the pit lane now? Gets it slowed down to one of the slowest pit speeds on the calendar. It's just, what is it, 37 miles an hour I think, as he comes down at the pit lane and into his pit box now. And what tyres have they got waiting down at Williams? It is a set of soft compound tyres. So he stretched it out long and he didn't fit super soft, so I'm slightly surprised by that. Surely you'd have got a fresh set of those 8 laps. Then again, I'm no engineer, I'm just a commentator. We'll have to wait and see what Jamie Day does. He's coming out the pits now. Is he going to come out ahead or behind Red Jams? I fear for him it's going to be behind, and it's going to be close, but it is behind. And Red Jams goes ahead on those medium tyres, and he really is trying to make a salvage job of this Grand Prix, because he's gone from a superb result last time out, Red Jams, to a real struggle. And he'll do well to fend off the charging Jamie Day behind in the closing laps. The one to watch as the race progresses. OTG at the back then, 10th place. That damaged front wing, I can't see him making any more progress. He's just circulating now to get that final point. Of course, we lost Robbo. He crashed coming out of Chapel and then got the car back to the pits to complete his retirement. We had Stiggy in the wall as well in the pit straight in the damp conditions as he changed his tyres. Cesar had a bit of a nightmare, and as did Arctic Devils. They were out early doors. But there's a laps tick down with 7 to go. Shimasi looks to me like he's got it under control, stroking it home for the victory. 4.3 seconds ahead of Skaven. Let's have a little look at his fuel and see how he's getting on. Yeah, 1.4 plus on the fuel, so no issues there. We've got Skaven around the same, 1.6 in the fuel. So there's not going to be a late charge from Skaven in terms of fuel against Shimasi. He's not been keeping anything back. He's just been outfoxed, outpaced by the British driver at his home circuit this afternoon, Shimasi. And he's doing a great job. These two long clear of Ash Richardson, a class of their own at the front, 24 seconds, nearly a pit stop clear of Ash. I suppose after qualifying down in 6th place, so we'll take the 3rd place result, I think. I don't think that's going to be too disappointing for him. He will outscore Pitmat, I suppose, and he will keep Shimasi within relatively close range. Matt Meerkat not here today. He was losing out massively in the World Championship, but he can battle back in the races that will follow as we go to Hungary, then we go to Belgium in the new year, as well as Monza. Some classic circuits coming up in the calendar. Make sure you stay tuned for them, those races. Then the flyaways as we head to Singapore. What an event that is. And yeah, the season heads on into its final part as we head all around the world, dotting from continent to continent. But at the moment, Shimasi still pulling clear. 4.7 the gap now up to Skeven, and I think Skeven with his 3-second time penalty will probably have admitted defeat by now, and he's just stroking it home for 18 World Championship points. And a solid haul, I suppose, for the Ferrari driver. I think he'd be slightly disappointed though. It might be a case of what might have been if he'd managed to put the perfect lap in qualifying and beat Shimasi. There was not much between them in qualifying, and you have to say, if he could have just nailed that qualifying lap, he might have been able to hold Shimasi at bay for the majority of the race. But it wasn't to be, and he sits in 2nd place, pondering what might have been, really. Not really much else in terms of action on the racetrack at the moment, as Jamie Day puts the fastest time on the board of the day so far of 1:37.4. Not much in terms of action, in terms of battles at the moment. They feel quite sporadic. Pitmat in 4th place. We've got CJ in 5th. We've got Space Unicorn 6th. 7th for Cherry 2 Pie, who's sliding his rear end out there, going through the loop and farm. Red Jams is in 8th position. Jamie Day trying to give him the hurry up, trying to get on his tail. 2.4 between them. That looks like the one that's going to maybe change in the closing laps as Jamie Day hunts him down on fresh softs, the freshest soft tyres on the track. Can he close in on Red Jams and double his points tally from 2 for 9th place to 4 for 8th place? We'll find out if he can in the remaining 5 or so laps as Shimasi responds to that great lap from Jamie Day and says, take some of that on his medium tyres. Doing a great job. And I think we saw a 3-second time penalty there for pit map, which is not ideal. It gives him an unnecessary worry that he didn't need. As Red Jams now picks up one as well. Multiple warnings, 3-second time penalty, and that now means Jamie Day will be ahead of him at the end of the Grand Prix, providing he doesn't have any penalties. But Pit Matt, as I was saying, he's got a 3-second time penalty, and he's got Frisky CG 3.6 seconds behind him, so not ideal, not the easy cruise to the finish that he would have wanted. It's slightly silly really from Pit Matt, given the gap he had, the advantage he had. There was no need to push like that, and he's now ended up giving himself a penalty on those soft compound tyres. And the man behind CG does not have a penalty. Jamie Day, does he have one? He does. A penalty and 2 warnings he got on lap 7, so he does have to overtake Red Jams on the road. So can he do it? 2.1 between them as Red Jams now sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And as again my mic seems to slip out by accident. I think it's back in now. But at the moment it's looking like it's all under control for Shimasi as OTG gets it all wrong down at turn 1. Is he retiring? Is he retiring? No, he's not. He's just getting it all wrong down at the braking zone. Going through 1 and 2 and then into the braking zone for Farm, or Village, or I think it's Village or Farm, I'm not forget the name for that corner, but he just got it all wrong and missed the corner. Bizarre. And the Toro Rosso driver is going to get 1 point today, not at all what he wants, and he picks up a 3-second time penalty to compound the misery for Franz Tost. Shimasi though cruising out front, and the fans down in the grandstand starting to empty the stands. There's not much action on the road, so they'll head down to the gates all around the racetrack, and at the end of this Grand Prix they'll get on the road, which is good about the British Grand Prix here. Some tracks do allow you on the racetrack, some tracks don't, but it's great here at Silverstone. Been on the calendar for so long, hosted so many Grand Prix, it's good to see that they do allow around this racetrack for the fans to get on the racetrack up to in front of the podium and go for a walk round it at the conclusion of the Grand Prix. It's really good. So Shimasi, 1 lap 22 out of 26, looks like he's got it all under control, nearly up to 5 seconds now, that gap to Stephen, and doing a super job of controlling and managing this race. We've seen him do it so many times before, Baku in particular, where he just stroked the car home. He really didn't have the pace in qualifying in Baku. He was all out of sorts, Shimasi, but he slowly but surely felt his way into the race and overtook cars as others made mistakes, and skiing ended in the wall, and brilliantly managed it to come home and win it. And again today, maybe not in quite the same circumstances, but he's just shown Stephen that it's not all about qualifying pace. Race pace is vital too, and he's done a great job, he really has. And he, for me, has got to be nominated as one of the drivers of the day. I'll go for Shimasi for driver of the day, and I've also got to give Ash Richardson a shout for driver of the day as well. Given where he started, he did start down the 6th, he's made 3 places. It's been a good damage limitation afternoon for him in the battle with Shimasi, but I think Shimasi deserves it, I really do. I think the way he's driven this afternoon has been brilliant. He's outclassed the majority of the field and shaded Stephen as well, so he'd be my driver of the day. But if I was to name 3 men, I would say Shimasi, I would say Ash Richardson, and then where'd I go? CG's up 4, I suppose, from 9th place up to 5th. Maybe a shout out for CJ, maybe. Pit Matt had a recovery from 10th in the opening lap, so Pit Matt or CJ, pick one of those two as another nomination for driver of the day. The way Pit Matt's come back through the field after his early mishap has been quite admirable, to be fair. So I might give it to him. But CG up 4 again, you can't really complain about that. Good effort from him. So I'll go for, you know what, I'll go for CJ. I'll go for Shimasi, Ash and CJ as my 3 drivers to be nominated for the poll, which will go online of course on Twitter at Supreme Racing League. Search them on Twitter and sure to follow and get yourself interested in some league racing, some Friday night action. And who knows, we might find you being commentated on, watching you in the Hungarian Grand Prix next week. But 2.5 laps left and Shimasi putting in a stunning masterclass. And for those fans still in the grandstands, they're waving the British flags, they've all got smiles on their faces. They look pretty happy with the afternoon's work Shimasi's put in. And I wonder what kind of celebration he'll kind of bring to the podium. Will we see a Mansell style one where he gets stalked by the fans in the track? I don't think you'd see that in the 21st century. I think the safety's too extreme now in the UK, or just worldwide in general. Safety taken so much more seriously in Formula 1 of course as well, with the Halo coming in next year. I don't think we'll see any of that in the not too distant future, but I think a jubilant podium celebration is what we can expect from Shimasi here today, as Red Jam gets another 3-second time penalty, not helping his cause at all. As Shimasi moves on to the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, 6.7 now clear of the ASR. Skeven in second. And yeah, Ash Richardson going to pick up third, I think, with Pitmat and his penalty. Who has dealt with CJ well after he received the penalty. He's got it up to 6 seconds now, so he won't be under threat from CJ after that time penalty, I wouldn't have thought. So Ash third, Pitmat fourth, Frisky CJ fifth, Space Unicorn sixth. Cherry Tupai, the Scotsman, running in seventh. He's faded out of this Grand Prix after a promising qualifying effort. He'll be slightly disappointed with that. Shimasi! Oh no! That's cruel. That's very cruel. I'll tell you what, that will blow the World Championship wide open. He disconnects from the race. Oh my goodness. And will Skeven get him before the finish? I have to say, I think he will. I don't think Ash will, and I don't think Pitmat will, but Skeven surely will. The gap coming down to 4.2. Can Shimasi get back in time? Skeven gets a penalty! Oh no! Unbelievable, he's got 6-second penalty now, and that might cost him the victory. It was in the palm of his hand, and now he's got 6 seconds added to his race time, and surely Shimasi will get back in time, or will he? That was so silly from Skeven to get a penalty. Absolutely ludicrous. But he might just get away with it because Shimasi is yet to return. Final lap of the race. We might not be battling together on the racetrack. It might be a bit of a win by default for Skeven if he can do it. We'll see if he can though. What a development this is. And he overtakes Shimasi now. Can he find the 6 seconds he requires? Or will Shimasi get back over the course of this final lap and take it back from him? He's got to put in a pretty mighty qualifying lap and try not get a penalty. The gap coming up, 2.4 it goes up to now. Surely Skeven will do it unless Shimasi joins the session, and there's no sign of that now. 3.1. Half a lap gone. He's found half the time, and it's building and building and building. 4.1. Skeven is going to snatch this. Really feel for him. Does the time climb anymore? 5.4. Skeven, take it easy and you will do the job. Don't cut any corners. And he doesn't. And 5.8 will become 5.9 and now becomes 6.5. And Skeven is going to do the business. He finished first on the road last time out, but penalties denied him. Penalties should have denied him today, but due to a late disconnect from Shimasi, they won't be denying him at all. Skeven, arguably by default, is going to come round the final few corners and win the British Grand Prix and disappoint the British crowd. Their heart thumps to the floor in the grandstands. You can hear it. It's like a rumble of thunder around the racetrack. His heart hit the ground all around the racetrack. Shimasi ends up second, or does he? Did Skeven have more? Then how many penalties did Skeven have? How many penalties did he have? Let's have a look. He had more than... Oh my goodness, he had 4! And in the end, Shimasi does win it. My apologies for that. Skeven had 4 time penalties. And as a result, Shimasi does win it. And I think, well, on the balance of play, I think that's only fair. So Shimasi, if you're watching the stream, I think you'll be glad to hear that you've won the Grand Prix, Shimasi. You've done it. Shimasi wins. For me, SR Skeven, it was a little bit more dramatic and not really what he wanted, but he has done it. Shimasi wins. For me, SR Skeven in second. Ash Richardson comes home third in the end. He'll be happy with that, I suppose, after how it was panning out. Pitmat fourth, 7/10 back. CJ fifth, up 4 places from his 9th place starting position. Cherry Pie got up to 6th before the end. Red Jams was 7th, Jamie Davis 8th, Space Unicorn dropped right down to 9th in the close there. I didn't see why, not sure why. OTG is in 10th. So thanks very much for joining us here at Silverstone. It's been a fantastic Grand Prix. We'll get the podium ceremony coming up in a few moments time. But congratulations to Shimasi. A lot of hearts hit the floor in the grandstands as we waited for the penalty count to come in, but they turned again to jubilation. It was like the Brazilian Grand Prix of 2008. Joy, despair, then joy again. And Shimasi, look at that, he's absolutely overjoyed in the podium, delighted. The McLaren mechanics delighted. He salutes the home faithful. I'll tell you what, he looks an awful lot like Fernando Alonso does, Shimasi. He wins brilliantly on my screen. I've got Fernando Alonso on my screen. Whether you do in yours, I'm not sure, but that was where that one was coming from. So, congratulations Shimasi. A little hairy moment at the end, but he still won due to Skeven's penalties. He wins brilliantly at his home race at Silverstone. Great job from him. Pole victory, but not quite the fastest lap, I don't think, which is a bit of a shame. Or did he get the fastest lap? Or was he pipped at the end? I think he got it actually. No, he didn't. He got pipped. So not quite the Grand Slam there for Shimasi, but he does win it though. Skeven with a second successive second place. Ash Richardson third position. Pitmat fourth. A recovery job from those two to third and fourth. CJ fifth. Cherry 2 Pike probably disappointed with sixth after his 4th place starting place. Red Jazz was 7th. Jamie Davis 8th. A nightmare end to the race for Space Unicorn in 9th. And the final point went to OTG and Shimasi is the man on.